Now, what you might do is you might take your research here and you probably go into Claude. And here's an example of just like a random prompt that I threw in here. This isn't even using a prompt. And my point is like a lot of you guys are doing this, right? Hey, take inspiration from breakthrough advertising. Maybe you have more of a prompt, do this, do that. And what ends up happening is you get these headlines, right? And so you might look at these headlines and be like, hey, these are pretty solid, right? You don't hit your protein goals by leaving grams on the table. Pretty good ring to it, right? I like the way that sounds. That could be a good headline. And I'm not saying that this isn't a good headline, but what you guys are going to start to notice here is once you use Claude to write your headlines and you organize them in your doc like this, where most canned fish is packed in oil, ours is packed in its own juices. You don't hit your protein goals by leaving grams on the table. Wild caught off Greenland, packed in its own juices. And now maybe you guys are going back and forth. Maybe you don't like this headline. Maybe you do. Point is you write these headlines here and then potentially you'll grab some inspiration and you'll say, editor, go ahead and edit this. And that's that. This is what a lot of your creative process looks like. Now, here's the issues, okay? And there's actually quite a few. Now, the first issue is that this research is really all product focused. And even if you just look at these headlines as well, they're really all product focused, right? Most canned fish is packed in oils. Wild caught off Greenland. Not saying that these are bad ads, but if we're trying to create ads in a competitive market where like, hey, here's the product and it is a sophisticated product, these headlines are not going to work, which is why this is such a big issue, okay? The research is product focused and the avatar is 90% useless information. And like I just said, you're solely relying on the product to do the selling. Now, what do I mean by the avatar is 90% useless? Well, 25 to 35-year-old male. Do we use that anywhere in here? No. Okay, lives in California. Does that matter for this headline at all? No. Has no kids. Does this matter at all? Or do we use that little bit of information anywhere? No, right? Do we talk about how he works out every day or loves to go to the beach? These are just things where it's like, okay, it's good to know, but it doesn't actually do anything for my copy. And that's the problem with a lot of you guys when you're building avatars, which is literally why inside of Evolve and Origins, I have an avatar training that's literally like over 2.5 hours because of how much deeper we go into avatars. But my point is that if we go down here into the second mistake, it's that 2 of the 3 headlines up here, as we've talked about, are all product focused and not customer focused. And as I mentioned, David can get away with this because their product is so much more superior. But unless you have a superior product, unless you are David, it's so hard for you to actually win in the auction, guys, which is the biggest thing that I'm trying to help you understand is that even though you're doing research, it's not showing in your headlines. You're essentially just talking about the product. And again, you're talking about yourself versus what the customer actually cares about and what you actually have to do to get their attention. You need to focus on helping the avatar see how this fits into their life. None of these here help me see how this fits into my life unless I'm already thinking about buying canned fish. Anybody can say this. Same thing with this wild caught off Greenland. Again, maybe this is important to the brand and this does help with a little bit of authority, but this is not really a real reason for me to care or a real reason for me to buy.